voices of people who have depression. So this is the footballer Stan Collymore, who used to play for Real Oviedo for a season, I think in 2000, and he has depression. So he took to Twitter to explain what it was like for him having depression. And I think that is very important, because up to me, it's for people who are not depressed yet, whereas Help4Mood is for people who have depression. So what is that like? We know the diagnosis, but Stan Collymore says, I keep myself in really good nick. I care for myself. But around 10 days ago, I started to feel anxiety, which grew into irrational fear, which in turn turned into insomnia for 3 days. That in turn, over the last weekend, into hypersomnia, whereby my energy levels dipped to 0. So I went from last Saturday at the gym, running 10 kilometers as I normally do, looking forward to working, from that Saturday to Tuesday morning, being unable to lift my head from the pillow, feeling like my body had been drained of any life, my brain full and foggy, and a body that felt like it was carrying an anvil around. Saturday, Tuesday. Okay, now for the presentation, if I can find the... What I hoped was that PDF would just work, so I'm going to have to use PowerPoint. So the experience of people with depression informs a lot of the choices that we've made within Help4Mood. So the problem is, if you have depression, like Stan Collymore was describing, then if you then go to see your general practitioner, fisico di attenzione primaria, sometimes, if I'm having a good day, then I might be more positive than things have actually been. So go, everything is fine, everything is great, no problems, and then by the end of the day, I write that down. But if I've got something that says, well, you know, this is what has been happening, I've been low, that would help. So what we did was, we designed Help4Mood with the main stakeholders, with clinicians and people with depression. So we not just took the data from the literature, previous projects and clinical experience, we asked. And these are the focus groups that Tony talked about. What we found was, first we had the theme of support for the monitoring. And what people with depression said, and this also came out in our user studies, was that they did not want to have to monitor the monitors. If you are well, you can do what you have to do for optimy. You know, take off, synchronize, recharge. But if you feel like Stan Collymore was feeling, you know, anvil, can't lift your head from the pillow, no way. Interaction. People want to speak to their clinicians. So that's why we made Help4Mood a solution that supports the treatment of depression, that supports the clinician-patient relationship. Decision support. If I'm feeling low, I want to be doing less. Self-monitoring. People are afraid of Big Brother being monitored too much. Kavya had this interesting study in El País. Spy on me and I will tell you how you are. People don't necessarily want to be spied on. There's a stigma of wearing the actigraph, even though the watch looks like a normal activity meter. It's still, why are you wearing this watch? And particularly with women, it's a big problem. And then having data that tells you, I'm not imagining this. I'm really ill. This is validation. I do have a problem. And having the data showing how a person has been during the week and generating this report, which will be one page of A4, allows people to say, no, look, actually, this is how I have been. I'm not imagining this, I'm not simulating this, this is my problem. So, in order to be able to get this information from the patient, we have let me just flick forward towards the avatar. We have this interface with the avatar that can be changed, which Lois is going to be talking about, which adapts to the patient, which Quine is going to be talking about, so that we've got a cognitive emotional model. How much can they cope with? Can they just cope with a quick questionnaire, or can they give more information? So, the personal monitoring is reduced activity and sleep, mood, and psychomotor, speech. The mood and the psychomotor data is monitored during the interaction with the avatar. So the avatar will say, okay, so for today, I'm going to ask you a few questions, then you're going to fill in a diary, and then I have a speech task for you. Or I have a relaxation exercise for you. And if the person says, no, I'm really not feeling very well, the system will say, okay, then it's just 4 questions, and you're done. There's a lot we can do to make sessions varied. We have standardized questionnaires, such as the CESTI VASVA, which sounds terribly complicated, but all it is 4 scales with sliders, which are derived from a validated questionnaire, which give us a handle on how the patient is doing. We've got psychoeducation, as Tony has mentioned. We've got relaxation exercises, as Tony has mentioned. And the negative thought questionnaire is designed to figure out what aspects of the patient's life are they feeling bad about, and what are the negative thoughts they are having. So, and then they get positive thoughts to challenge the negative thoughts. So this is a way for them to reflect on what are the negative thoughts they're having, and this information about the main negative thoughts can then be given to the clinician, so the clinician will know what the main negative thoughts are. In the decision support, we look at interpretation of data, trends, and summary, and we're also planning the interaction, as I've already mentioned, and we are doing the report. Now, the decision support is not the standard decision support, because it is very difficult to figure out what the data means. And that is why the amount of data that has been collected by Optimi is so very important for us, because Optimi shows us normal functioning and functioning as patients slide into depression. So Optimi shows us this and this. But what we don't know much about is this. What is the functioning like for people who are depressed? Because when we did a systematic review of the literature, we saw that most of the data on activity in people with depression was from hospital inpatients. Oh, hospital inpatients move less than people who are living a normal life outside the hospital. Interesting. So we need calibration. We also need to know what is normal for a person. For example, speaking rate. My speaking rate normally is slower than Rosa's. So if Rosa started speaking at the same rate as me, what happened? Whereas if I started speaking with the same rate as Rosa, what has happened to you? So this is language specific, culture specific, person specific. And that's not just a problem for depression, it is a problem in all of telemonitoring. Telemonitoring of older people, a massive problem. Monitoring of hypertension, monitoring of COPD, although there are clinical cutoff values, they don't necessarily apply, because a person can be feeling fine and have a very, very high blood pressure. It's not calibrated. And prescribing medications is also very tricky. taken you through the reasoning behind Help4Mood. Where are we now? So Help4Mood is currently in its second year. We are halfway through. The project ends at the end of 2013. This is the framework for designing complex interventions from the UK Medical Research Council. And where we are going to stop is in the middle of phase 2. So we're going to do the theoretical work, which included the co-design work, the modelling, and the feasibility trial. So we've got evidence to support the design for Help4Mood. We are looking at identifying mechanisms by which Help4Mood will help people with depression, and then we're going to do a pilot study. And that is going to be, take place in 4 steps. The first one, usability and acceptability of components. That is almost done. We're still collecting a few more data points. The first test of a simple integrated system will start this month. We're all very excited. Second test will be with people who've been released from hospital early 2013, and then the third test will be in mid-2013. And it will always have a strong co-design element where we go back to the people who've worked with Help4Mood and say, what do you think? What were your problems? And what I will do is I will stop there to give the remaining speakers enough time and throw any questions.